People in Charlotte gathering tonight to honor the life of Iryna Zarutska. It comes 1 month after she was fatally stabbed on a Charlotte light rail. The 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee's death has raised concerns over public safety and criminal justice reform. Her accused killer, DeCarlos Brown Jr., has a violent criminal history prior to her death.
We're learning new details tonight on the effort by Republicans in Raleigh to revive North Carolina's death penalty.
The Senate has approved an amended version of House Bill 307. It contains tougher new criminal laws for North Carolina. The bill passed just a few hours ago with all Republicans in the chamber voting for it and all Democrats opposing it.
One of the amendments to the bill mandates that appeals to death penalty sentences must be heard within 2 years. The bill also allows people with violent criminal histories that are deemed mentally unfit to stand trial to be held for longer periods of time in psychiatric hospitals. It would eliminate certain cashless bail policies and impose tougher bail guidelines for some crimes. And it also adds an aggravating factor in sentencing if the crime is committed while the victim is using public transportation. Republicans have called the bill Iryna's Law, named after Iryna Zarutska, who died after being stabbed on Charlotte's light rail train. She had fled here from the war in Ukraine, targeted in an apparently random attack. Some are concerned the bill's tougher new rules would lead to innocent people pleading guilty just to be let out of jail. Supporters of the bill say these changes are needed.
We believe that House Bill 307 is a good first step in ensuring that those in our communities that are mentally ill are in mental hospitals and not in jails.
Unless mental health care system is fully funded, the involuntary commitment process is a road to nowhere. We do not have the services to provide these people.
That amended bill now goes over to the state Senate, where it could be heard in committee as early as tomorrow.